Hey everybody, it's Javier. I have a author. I have a veteran from the Iraq. His name is Joel Soel. Joel Soel, how are you, sir?
I'm well, Javier. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's early in the morning, getting into it,
Just
getting it done.
getting after it.
Yeah, got that workout in. What about you?
Not yet, man. You're doing better than me.
Uh, we got to stay on it. We got to keep ourselves healthy. So I have Joel Soel here today. He is a veteran. He has several achievements. Would you like to go over your achievements that you had today?
Sure, yeah. I'm the recipient of the Combat Action Badge, the the Army Commendation Medal, the Army Achievement Medal, the New York State Medal of Merit, and a New York State Assembly citation for military service and work in civil rights.
And what kind of civil rights do you actually do, if you don't mind me asking?
I worked for the equality of the LGBT community. Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any like achievements that you've accomplished when it comes to working with that community? Or is there anything that's
Well, I advocated for marriage equality in New York State long before it was popular, right when I got out of the military. And the New York State Assembly, my local assemblyman took notice, and he was impressed enough with my work to award me a citation voted on by the Assembly of New York. So I'm pretty proud of that one, and it's hanging on my wall in the living room.
it's good. You shouldn't be proud of all your achievements. You've accomplished a lot when we had a talk beforehand. So what made you want to be in the service, if you don't mind me asking?
I joined the military because of 9/11. I was angry about the attacks. I was 14 when they happened in 2001, and as soon as I was, old enough in 2006, I joined the army and really, really just wanted to give back, wanted to serve, and I wanted to go after the people that did that to our country. So that's why I signed up, and that's why I went to serve.
Good, good. How long were you deployed, if you don't mind me asking?
I was deployed for 13 months.
And for those 13 months, what are some of the things that you experienced while you
Oh,
were
I um, I worked in an ammunition supply point, um, and I did a lot of worker escort missions. So a lot of the local Iraqis would actually work on our base, and I got to know quite a few of the Iraqi workers and talk to them through a translator named Ali. That's why the first part of the book is called Conversations with Ali. And I got to know them really well, and I started to see the humanity in the Iraqi people and realize that war is really not a very nice thing to have happen. And from there, my consciousness sort of evolved. Um, I did do some convoy duty, and there were some attacks, specifically the attack of May 17th, 2008, uh, for for which I earned the Combat Action Badge. We had three soldiers buried in rubble. Five rockets hit the base that night, and there was a lot of smoke and fire, a lot of screaming, and it was pretty traumatic. It's still kind of messed up in my head, and that's why the book is called The Broken Mirror of Memory, because my memory is very broken up about the entire tour, to be honest. It's I had it all mixed up, and I had to talk with people from my unit later on, uh, just starting a few months ago after they read the book to piece the tour together, sort of in a way that I could put things on a timeline and it makes sense to me. It was all mixed up.
so is there you could you say that there's a miscompensation or a like a miscommunication about the people over there?
Yeah, yeah. I would say so. Most of the people that are living in Iraq and Afghanistan, in the places where we were fighting, were really just farming people. They were simple farmers. They wanted a good life for their children. They didn't want anything to do with the war, and they were so poor that the insurgents would often pay them money to attack us. So when you have no source of income, no ability to get income, and someone offers you $500 to attack U.S. forces, or $1,000 to kill U.S. forces, or 5,000 to kill U.S. forces, you're going to take that money. So that sort of fueled the insurgency in a way. The insurgents taking advantage of people's poverty sort of exacerbated the situation quite a bit. And there were also people that were angry at us who just wanted to kill us. And I mean, you know,
Yeah, it's kind of comes and goes kind of dang every
yeah,
single day.
it's kind of a mixed bag.
So you happen to spend 13 months deployed,
Yeah.
and then that was your only deployment. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Just one. One was enough for me.
So what did you do when you got out, when you told your senior officers that you were done? What kind of was their reaction that they had?
Oh, I didn't tell them I was done. I just did my time. I finished out my time, got out. Um, they knew that I wasn't pro-war. They knew, that I was you know, pretty politically against warfare in general. You know, but I did not apply for conscientious objector status. I could have, I probably should have, but I didn't. I did my time and got out. And a lot of people in the army were actually pretty supportive because they had been through the same thing. And whether consciously or not, they also were tired of fighting. They were traumatized by the war too, and they were tired. So um, there was a lot of sort of ambiguity in people's reaction to my pretty vocal opposition to the war. And when I got out, I was done with it. Um, I was done with it, and I went to college, and I got a job working in veteran services in the nonprofit industry, and then moved on to teaching, and am now serving as a hospital chaplain. So I'm kind of doing a lot of things. I got my hands on a lot of things. So
So when you got out, did that kind of make you religious, or have you always been religious, if you
I've
don't mind
always
me?
I've always been religious, but this sort of brought me on a place to study various religions. I went to the I went to the Zen Center for quite a while, and just learned from some of the Buddhist monks. And the Buddhists have a thing where every animal, every sentient being, has been your mother at some point in a previous life, in a previous incarnation. And I found that really beautiful. So every animal, every insect, every bug that we interact with on a regular basis or see has been our mother in a previous incarnation. So we should be kind to all living beings. And there's something that really struck me about that. And I never looked at life the same way ever again after that teaching.
So it changed your life going to the
Yep.
Buddha, what is it?
It is called the Zen Center. So
The Zen Sire?
Zen Center. Yep.
Zen Center. There we
Yep.
go. The Zen
Zen
Center.
Center.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never actually heard of the Zen Center until you brought it up to me.
Yeah, there are Zen centers all over the country. There's one in Rochester, New York that I went to, and there's one in Olympia, Washington that I still frequent. Did I lose you, Javier? Hey, Javier. I think I lost you for
I
a
don't know.
second.
Yeah, it was some kind of bug that went on.
That's okay. It happens.
So we were talking about the Zen Center.
Yeah, yeah. And those folks, those monks, they really, yeah, they really taught me quite a bit. Just the the attitude of compassion. The attitude of love, and respect for all beings, it really did impact me. I've since gone back to the Episcopal Church, and I'm working on the ordination process in the Episcopal Church to become a priest, so I can better serve those who are completely underserved and forgotten by our society, and that's what I'm working on now. So I'm working as a hospital chaplain, and man, that'll blow your mind. You know, if you've never
Well, I
seen
mean, what goes
someone,
on? What goes
um,
on at the as a hospital chaplain?
there's a lot of death. I can't go into a lot of detail because of HIPAA regulations, but
Well, no,
there's a
no,
lot
you
of
don't need
death.
to go into
Yeah, yeah,
details.
and it really,
I don't want to put you in a bad spot.
sure,
So,
sure, but just seeing the illness, suffering, and death up close really brings home the impermanence of life, and it really makes you appreciate what you have right now. It makes you appreciate your health, and it makes you realize that a lot of the little stuff in life, a lot of the stuff we get worked up about, I was a guy that got really worked up for a long time. I was a really anxious person. And now seeing the impermanence, although I saw the impermanence in Iraq, because of the deaths of soldiers. The army lost 10 soldiers at Talil, Iraq while I was there. I saw that impermanence, but it didn't sink in until, now I'm almost in my 40s, and I see it at the hospital, and I'm like, wow, we don't have as much time as we think, man. We may as well enjoy, because, you know, everyone's going to end up sick. Everyone will end up passing away. So we may as well enjoy what we have now and really truly savor it and really truly value it.
well, I mean, nobody appreciates them until they're gone. Like
Yes.
that's one of the things that I have to live with because I lost my father November. I
Mm.
lost my father in November, and then a few days after that, I lost one of my closest friends. So I really lost two important people in my life, and that kind of, I'm not gonna say it made me sad, but it didn't make me depressed but I'm certainly could tell you that I was sad. I needed time to mourn. I really just needed to somewhat be by myself. And I'm sure that's what a lot of those people go through.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I lost my mother at 10 years old. I get it. It's I can empathize with that. It really it really hurts, and folks, who are listening out there, just enjoy it. You know, hug the people you love, because we don't have as much time as we think, And I do delve into that in the book, but it
Okay.
we don't have as much time as we think. So just enjoy it. And go play that round of golf, go, have that extra cup of coffee, just chill and know that all the stuff that we're getting worked up about is really small stuff. It's not, it's really not that serious.
No. So when you got out of the service and you became a civilian again, how was that translate? How did that transition go
That
about?
transition was messy, man. I
Mhm.
drank for 10 years, really, really heavily. Um, and it was hard because, like I said, the tour was so broken up in my head that I didn't have a lot of references for when things happened. There was a lot of trauma there, but it hadn't been processed. And I didn't process it for 10 years. I just tried to drink it away. I mean, I was heavy drinking. So, um, now that I'm not doing that anymore, life's a lot better. But it was a messy transition, and there were times that I honestly considered suicide. And 22 veterans a day are killing themselves, and that's something that is really messed up and really sad. These are people who gave their all for the country, and a lot of them are so broken that they don't know where to go. And I know that feeling. So it took me a long time to come to peace, and that's part of the reason why I wrote the book, because I wanted to get all the trauma and everything I experienced out of me and onto paper, so that it was out of my being, and it could maybe help someone else. no matter what your situation might be, if you've gone through trauma, if you've lost someone, if you're just a depressed person, if you're, just not doing well in life, um, or if you want to understand the veteran experience, the combat experience, you know, um, I wrote it down to just kind of get it out of me and share it with the world. And, ripping open your chest and exposing your pain to the world is a really strange thing to do, but that's what I did with the book. So
Well, I mean, writing a book can't be easy, much less you putting all your life experiences into this one book right here.
yeah, it was definitely a journey. I mean, I wrote it over 15 years, so um, we just came out with the new version, the link of which I sent you, which is the deluxe illustrated edition. So every chapter has an illustration, and towards the back, every poem has an illustration. So um, I really, really like the illustrations. I put a lot of work into them, and I just love for people to check it out. Really.
So, like in your book, and especially earlier, you were talking about one of your friends that were when you were in your first deployment, that he was your speaker, so to speak. What was his name?
Our translator, his name was Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was he one of your closest friends? I assume that you got used to known.
yeah. I got really close to Ali, um, and he was a good man. And at the end of the tour, of course, we didn't know what would happen, with the rise of ISIS and the near collapse of the state of Iraq, which thankfully didn't happen, for those that actually worked with the Americans, but a lot of them were killed. Um, and I worried after Ali, and I still do. I don't know what happened to him. Um, we just sort of, parted ways at the gate in my last week, and then I got on a plane to go home. But he was the person that really humanized the Iraqi people to me, and he was the person that taught me probably my greatest lesson in Iraq, which is we're all just human beings trying to make it. You know, there are bad, folks who do want to do people harm, and the majority are just regular folks just trying to get by. And, you know, really, I found that I had no quarrel with the Iraqi people whatsoever. They were just people.
And like, could we even say, like, I don't like using the cliche, but I might as well use it this time. Could you say that you kind of suffer from PTSD?
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's
yeah. I definitely have PTSD, um, and that's something that it took the VA 13 years to recognize. I had to get letters from folks in my, uh, folks in my unit to validate the claim for PTSD, but I'm rated for PTSD now. So yeah. I definitely dealt with some of that, and it's not a cliche. It's a real, mental illness. That, well, I won't say mental illness because what it really is, they call it post traumatic stress disorder, but it's not a disorder to have traumatic things happen to you and then you have a negative reaction to those and you're messed up because of it. I don't think that's you know I don't think it's a disorder. I prefer to call it post traumatic stress, not post traumatic stress disorder, because
yeah. I don't know where they came up with the disorder part, but I'm sure if we look it up, we could find it if we look
yeah
hard enough.
yeah
But yeah, it's not easy. Like I can only imagine.
yeah it's definitely something. I mean, we yeah, my first week in country, we lost 3 soldiers in a rocket attack, and one was grievously wounded. I mean, I'm talking he's messed up now. And those soldiers were from the 7th Sustainment Brigade, and that was the brigade that I was assigned to as a reservist going into active duty. I was assigned to 7th Sustainment Brigade, and our first week in country, we lose 3 soldiers from the Special Troops Battalion, and we were just integrating into the unit, so we didn't go to their, you know, to their military, funeral, so to speak, their remembrance ceremony. Later in the tour, in September, we we lost 7 soldiers in a helicopter crash, and that helicopter's code name was Red River 44, and 7 soldiers were killed in that crash, and we went to their dignified transfer ceremony. I don't know if you saw the news recently when those troops were killed in Jordan. They brought their coffins off the plane.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
some video of them transferring it from.
yeah, yeah, man. Let me tell you, to actually be there at one of those ceremonies is a life-changing experience, especially when you're in uniform and you're like, "Whoa, that could be me." Sometimes you think, "Holy crap, man, that should be me." And you don't know what to do with that for a long time, you know especially when you're in a combat zone, and that it could be you tomorrow. um, it really deeply affects you. If you don't mind, I actually wrote something about that, and
Go ahead,
it's my
put it out
favorite
there
part of the
by
book.
all means. And all this
um,
is in the book, correct? Like everything
oh
that
yeah,
we're talking about
yeah,
is inside the book. So if people
yeah.
want to read more about the broken mirrors and memories, all they simply have to do is go to Amazon. Is there any other places you can get it?
uh, Amazon's the main place. I think you can get it on
Okay.
barnesandnoble.com, but yeah, go through Amazon.
Okay.
And it's called The Broken Mirror of Memory. I would go with the illustrated edition just because it's definitely got some high quality illustrations in there that we put a lot of time into. So
Yeah, we
so
have put
the
a little small plug in for you before
yeah,
we
yeah,
actually
yeah,
do the plug. You got to get a little bit in there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what was it? So sorry for interrupting you, but exactly what is it that you were going to say?
Um, I'm gonna read you a little section of the book, and it's a poem that I wrote while I was in Iraq, and I wrote it right after going to this ramp ceremony. I'll leave my vulgarity out. I don't know what,
I mean, you
I
can
don't
say
know
it
if.
if you want. I'm gonna
Okay,
put it out there anyway. So feel free.
okay,
If you want to, then go ahead. If you
okay.
don't want to, that's fine also.
All right. So this one's called "Stuck in My Boots." Um, Sorry, a little nervous. I can't just put those men away in boxes. Sand whips by us, and it feels like a cold night. It must be 65 degrees. We stand erect at perfect attention. Our shadows are carried in boxes. They are men we might not have liked in life. We don't even know their names at present. But there we stand, our bodies aching from holding that same hand salute. The flag draped coffins, red, white, and blue. The chaplain offers prayer. How the fuck did we get here? I feel stuck in my boots and I want out. That should be me in that box, and I know it. I can never live it down. I can't move. So I'll just stand here saluting on this tarmac in the middle of the night for the rest of my life. And yeah, I stayed saluting on that tarmac for a long time. I couldn't put those guys away.
Well,
Um,
I'm sure y'all were just frozen with time on that moment.
yeah, and there are certain moments in our lives where time freezes, and that was one of them. Um, watching 7 guys go by, in those coffins, and knowing, hey, that could be you tomorrow. You got a mission coming up. You know, those rockets are coming in, and you don't know where they're gonna hit or when, and you know that could be you tomorrow, Jack. So it really, I mean, like, it affects you deeply when when you're a soldier in that moment, and that that could be you tomorrow. Sometimes you feel bad that it wasn't you, because what could that soldier have achieved what could that soldier have contributed, you know, and then you think, well, what am I doing? And you you don't know if the world lost something great because that man died and you lived, and you just don't know. So you go on with it, and you just put on your boots and keep going, and that's what I did.
Well, the reason we get to do what we do is because of the sacrifices they made.
Yeah, that's true. But it just it messes you up. um you know at least it messed me up, and it still messes me up, but I'm getting better. So
I mean, every day you get better,
yeah.
slowly but surely.
Yeah.
And what was this in the book that you would like to highlight that maybe these people can read about?
Healing through psychedelics. I did a lot of psychedelic therapy, um, with magic mushrooms. I realized oneness with the universe through LSD, um, and that was an amazing experience. And I really believe psychedelics have the power to heal and really sort of rewire some of the trauma in our minds, because trauma will affect the mind physically. So I think we have to go in there and rewire it, and I find psychedelics are really useful for that. So the second half of the book is called Maggie, and it was originally a psychedelic novella, so a small novel. It's a fictionalized account of my mom's life up to when she passed when I was 10, and it goes into my search for her, trying to reconnect with her and trying to find oneness with the universe. And what I found when I tried to reconnect with her was that through psychedelics, when you experience the oneness with the universe that you get on those kind of, drugs, so to speak, um,
Mhm.
you find that you're not actually separated, and that everything really is one. And, we're all the same. And once you experience that oneness with the universe, not just with other people, but with everything, you realize that you're not as far off as you think. You know, you're not as separated as you think. So you end up really connected with everything. So that's that's the second half of the book, and it really delves into psychedelic therapy, healing, um, you know, out of body experiences, and my journey driving from New York to out here on the West Coast, my journey through the country, all the people I met, all the things that I did on that journey, and, the things that I discovered through that road trip. That was a 3,000-mile road trip that I took.
So
And
you took a 3,000-mile road trip.
yes, yes, I
What were
drove
some
from
of
New.
the what were some of the things that you saw and experienced in the 3,000 miles?
Oh man, we went to me and my fiance. We went to the hotel from The Shining, um, which was really crazy. That place is haunted. Trust me, believe it. That place is haunted. Um, and see, we went to Rocky Mountain National Park. We stopped through and swam in the tributaries of the Susquehanna River, um, in Pennsylvania. We got to stop at Mount Rainier National Park. We got to stop at you know um, Mount St. Helens, and we spent a whole week in Colorado because Denver is amazing. Um, just Denver's just an amazing city. One of my favorite places in the world is the Denver Zoo, just because they have so many amazing animals there, and it was just a heck of an experience. Just kind of traveling the country, wandering about, and seeing what kind of trouble you can get into. It was a lot of fun. I recommend everyone take a 3,000-mile road trip at least once in their life, because you
Yeah,
meet a lot of amazing people.
road trips are something that we don't do anymore other than. So was there anything else that you would like to add about your book before we go ahead and sign off?
Yeah, it's just the book is, the culmination of 15 years of effort, and it really tries to put the veteran experience into a communicable form that people can digest, hold, and be with. And I'd be honored if you check it out. It's The Broken Mirror of Memory on Amazon. Like I said, there are two versions. There is the print version, which is just The Broken Mirror of Memory, and there's the illustrated version, which is The Broken Mirror of Memory Deluxe Edition. And you can find them on Amazon.com. I'd be honored if you checked them out. And just thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, Javier.
You're welcome. You're welcome, by all means. And then all the details and everything will be on the episode, and it'll be on like another episode where we have the details. So if anybody wants to buy it, all they really have to do is just click on it, and you'll go straight to it, so they could purchase it. It's not really. We'll take care of that from here.
Awesome.
But yeah, do you have a book in your hand? You want them to show them what an actual physical copy looks like?
I do, yeah. So this is what the book looks like on Amazon, and it's
And
fully
which copy
illustrated.
is that?
This is the illustrated edition, and I'll give you a little
That's
preview.
the deluxe edition
That's
of
the
it.
deluxe edition, and here is an example of some of the illustration. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's pretty good.
yeah. So,
Believe me, when I get a copy, I will certainly take some selfies with it and show you that.
man, that'd be great.
By
I'd
all
love that.
means, we could put it on our social media stuff.
Awesome, awesome. I love it.
All right, thank you, Joe. Thank you for being on here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, we'll be signing off. By all means, if you want the book, we're gonna have links and descriptions for it. That way, you can get a copy of it. There's a physical copies. Is there a digital copy?
There is a Kindle version as well.
There's a Kindle version of it. So there's plenty of ways for you to get the book if you like the book, by all means.